Hey students, I hope you are preparing very well on your competitive examinations. But today I came with some topics which are most important, which are asked repeatedly in previous year papers. So if you ace these problems first, 120 marks or NEET is completely locked for you. Okay, so whoever started preparing just now can also score more marks by doing the practice on these 50 topics. Okay, let's see what kind of questions can be asked and what are the formulas. Let's see in detail. So first of all, calculation of moles. As we all know, the number of moles calculation, N is equal to given mass by molecular mass formula, very simple formula, but the questions can be asked from that. And then number of atoms, number of molecules, and they will give you the volume and asking for the number of moles, that kind of gases, that related question, 22.4, 22.7, that related kind of questions which can be asked. And be careful with the Avogadro number, 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 particles per mole, right? Then the next question, next topic would be limiting reagent. Limiting reagent, what is that? That reacts fastly, like not fastly, but it will consume first. Right, the reactant that is completely consumed in the reaction, and which is the reason for the stopping the reaction, right? It is determines the maximum amount of product that can be formed. So what kind of questions we can expect from limiting reagent is that calculate the moles of each reactant, determine the theoretical yield from the reaction based on the stoichiometry, and you can expect the reactant giving the lowest yield in the limiting reagent. Mostly the yield related calculations you can expect from this, right? And find out the limiting reagent also, very simple question, but it was asked many times. And calculate the maximum yield, and which will be excess reagent, and calculate the percentage yield, theoretical yield, percentage yield. So yield related problems you need to solve in case of limiting reagent. And the next very important concept, that is empirical formula. Now, empirical formula is a simple concept. Yes, that is true, but what kind of question you can expect from that is determine the mass or the percentage of an element. Okay, they will give you some formula and ask you to find out the percentage of carbon, percentage of hydrogen, percentage of oxygen, those kind of problem. You can see many problems, these kind of problems were asked in this year JEE main paper also. Okay, so you can expect those problems in your NEET, in your other entrance examinations as well. I'm telling you these topics is super important for whatever the examination you are attempting. Okay, then convert it to moles, find out the volume and convert it to moles, find the ratio of the moles, and then what you can expect, the empirical formula for the from combustion analysis data, combustion reaction. That combustion reaction, the general formula you need to know from hydrocarbons chapter. Okay, the next one is Bohr atomic model, which is from atomic structure. The first one, you can expect the energy related questions. Energy related questions, radius related questions, radius of the nth orbit, how you can find. And angular momentum, MVR is equal to 2 nh by 2 pi. So angular momentum related questions you can expect from this. And you can expect calculate the energy levels in hydrogen atom, or determine the wavelength of emitted or absorbed photon. Sometimes they will ask you the energy of the photon, sometimes they will ask you the wavelength of the photon, right? And they will ask you to calculate the specific electron in the orbit, the radius of the specific electron in the orbit, and the statement related questions, the limitations of Bohr model. Okay, so that related questions also you can expect. Then hydrogen spectra. Hydrogen spectra, we know Lyman-Balmer Paschen bracket fund, right? So which region the lines we can see, or what is the general spectral based transitions, that type of questions, and calculate the wavelength and frequency. I'm giving you Lyman series, which is we already covered these things in one shot of physical chemistry as well, and atomic structure physics crash course as well. But I'm telling you, this recent type of questions involves Lyman series, which is in ultraviolet, and then Palmer series, which is visible, Paschen bracket fund, all are in IR region. They won't ask you far IR region or not, that's just IR region. Okay, sometimes they will give you the details and telling you that this is observed in IR region or a visible region. Okay, from that you have to assume that this is from Lyman series, this is from Ballman series. Okay, sometimes they will ask you wavelength and frequency of the spectral lines as well, right? Then moving on to the next, Rydberg's formula. Rydberg's formula, we know that 1 by lambda, which is equal to RH, Rydberg's constant, 1 by n1 square, n2 square, isn't it? So Rydberg's constant, you know, right? 1.097 into 10 to the power 7 meter inverse. Okay, and what kind of questions can be asked? Calculate the wavelength of the spectral lines, determine the energy levels involved in the observed transitions, or straight application based of this formula, and calculate the energy during the electron transition kind of questions. These questions you can expect from this single formula. Then most importantly, Planck equation. E is equal to h nu, right? H nu, or you can apply that to E is equal to h nu by the lambda, correct? So wave particle duality or that concept related questions also you can expect, or they will ask you to compare the energy of different types of EMR radiations and calculate the energy change in atomic transitions, right? And determine the frequency or wavelength of photon energy, and calculate the energy of the photons as well, which involves Planck equation. And moving on to the chemical bonding chapter, here we have hybridization. Super important. You can expect question from this. Short. Hybridization, asking for the shape, geometry, or simply hybridization, or considering lone pairs and bond pairs, how it affects, and they will give you the structure and asking you for determining the geometry and bond order, bond strength, bond length from MOT. I told you we thoroughly discussed these areas in our physical chemistry, inorganic and organic chemistry. One shot. Just I'm giving you the link in the description. You can just go through it, which is a very short video but very effective video. I'll ask you to go through it once. Then we are moving on to thermodynamics. Surely you can expect a question from thermodynamics chapter, which is super important. The first law of thermodynamics, which is really very easy, right? You can expect the questions which is related delta U is equal to Q plus W, and for gases W is equal to minus P delta V, an isothermal process, an adiabatic process, and coefficient related Cp by Cv. Those type of questions you can expect, and asking you to calculate the work or heat or internal energy changes, just an application of first law of thermodynamics formula, and they can ask you the energy transfers in chemical reactions. Those type of questions you can expect. I'm telling you guys, the questions will be simple. Don't worry about that. Be motivated and don't stuck with a single question for a very long time. Just move on and come back later. Okay. Then the most simple questions can be asked from intensive and extensive properties. Once again, I'm telling you, independent of the system means intensive. The another one which is dependent, that is extensive. Independent. Right. For example, temperature, pressure, or independent of the system and size, which is intensive property. Directly proportional to the system, which is our mass, volume, energy, enthalpy, heat capacity. These are our extensive properties. And most importantly, straight questions upon the given options, which is state function, which is path function. That kind of straight questions you can expect. What is state function? The value depends only on the initial and the final states. It's state function. It's dependent on the specific path, then that is path function. I'm giving you the simple trick. Q and W, which is a state function. Mostly the other functions are state functions only. Path function is Q and W, just heat and work. Okay. Then the questions can be asked just to find out which is path, which is state functions, and apply the state function properties to cyclic processes. That kind of questions, related concept questions you can expect. Then the next concept is relationship between enthalpy and energy. So H is equal to U plus PV, or delta H is equal to delta U, P delta V. That related questions determine the energy changes at constant pressure, constant volume, and what else? The difference between the heat at constant pressure and the heat at the constant volume also you can expect. They will give you the diagram, and diagram related questions also you can expect from this energy and the enthalpy relation. Then entropy, very simple concept, isn't it? Just a randomness, but the formulas are more, right? Entropy, which is delta S, which is equal to Q by T. Formula is so simple, but you can expect the questions from isothermal expansions, isochoric processes, isobaric processes, right? And also the spontaneity related questions that was asked n number of times in previous year papers. Spontaneity related questions, and entropy of the total you can expect, delta S total, which is equal to delta S system plus surrounding. Okay, so that related questions also you can expect from entropy. Okay, isothermal expansion, isochoric, isobaric, the formulas are important. For you, I can attach these concepts checklist in the description box in the PDF. You can take it as a checklist. I have attached there in the potential questions as well. You can just go through it. Okay, I'm attaching with the formula. The next one, that is Gibbs free energy. Gibbs free energy delta G, which is equal to delta H minus Ts, right? So you can expect the questions related delta G which is equal to minus RT ln K, that related question, or else delta G to delta G standard, then RT ln Q, which involves the equilibrium chapter as well. Okay, so that related question you can expect, and most importantly spontaneity, delta S, delta G, delta H. So in these three elements you can expect the spontaneity related questions. Okay, so delta G, which is just opposite to delta S, just remember that. Okay, if in case of delta G positive means that is non-spontaneous, delta S positive means that is spontaneous. Okay, just opposite to each other. Then enthalpy of formation. Enthalpy of formation, in that case, they will ask you to the enthalpy of the whole reaction by saying the standard state, or you can expect the questions from the reaction data. By giving you the reaction data, they will ask you the enthalpy, and calculate the heat of the reaction for the non-standard conditions, the temperature, varying temperature. Like it's not a standard temperature just mentioned, very different temperatures. And Hess law. What is Hess law? The enthalpy change of the reaction is independent of the pathway and equals to the sum of enthalpy changes of the immediate reactions, right? We just sum it up. So the questions can be asked to find the unknown enthalpies, the construct the energy diagram, related questions, which do the following graphs will define it. That type of questions are just an application of Hess law also you can expect. Okay, and sometimes they will ask you the lattice energy related questions, Bohr-Haber cycle also. Okay, then equilibrium constant. In case of equilibrium constant, writing it here, Kc, Kp related questions, and relationship between Kp and Kc, right? And you can expect when the reaction is doubled, when the reaction is divided by the factor, when the reaction is reversed. So those type of questions, what would be the new equilibrium constant? So that type of question also it was asked more time, a number of times. And the most important person in equilibrium, that is Le Chatelier. The effects, that is super important. The factors affecting the temperature, pressure, or they will give you the inert gas we have passed. What will happen? Nothing will happen, right? We are using the catalyst to speed up the reaction. This is what happened. So what would be the effect on the reaction? Nothing will happen, right? So the temperature, pressure, the concentration increases, decreases. Mostly remember, Temperature, pressure, concentration only you have to think about whether that will be forward or backward. Rest of the things, inert gases, catalyst, then the constant volume, you need not to think about anything. Okay, so question related that you can expect. Then mostly they will ask you in Haber's process and contact process only in case of Le-Chatelier principle. Then solubility product. Solubility product, KSP. I have given you the chart of 1:1 reaction, 1:2, 2:1. What will happen? What is the formula? That related chart I have given you. The straight questions also you can expect. I'm asking you for calculate the KSP, calculate the S. Those type of questions you can expect. Then the pH calculation, most importantly, asking for the pH for the base. You can expect the twisted kind of questions. And you can ask, can be asked you to analyze the pH from the given data, that type of questions. They will give you the salt solution and asking for the pH. They will give you the polyprotic acid and asking for the pH. Okay, these type of questions you can expect. And KW values also, that type related questions also you can expect. Then buffer solution. Buffer solution, this type, the acidic buffer, basic buffer related questions, combined with the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. I have given you the 3 formulas for the buffer solution under this equation, right? That is more important. And KPKC, I have already discussed. Then coming to the organic part, hyperconjugation. I already told you in the electronic effect, please remember Rohit. Rohit will give you the marks. Resonance, super, the best influencer. Then comes our hyperconjugation, then inductive effect. So this is the order. Hyperconjugation, they will ask you to find out which is having more alpha hydrogen, which is more stability, which is more reactor, those type of questions. And mostly they will ask you about the bond strength, the bond length, which is inversely proportional to our bond strength, that we know already. Then the inductive effect related problems, electron displacement along the sigma bonds, and compare the acidity, basicity based problems, predict the relative trends in the substituted compounds, analyze the reaction rate related problems. Okay, those problems you can expect. In case of resonance or mesomeric effect, I have given you resonance and mesomeric separately because resonance I'm related to that to aromaticity also, aromatic related problems. Okay, whether it is aromatic or not, which is non-planar or planar, anti-aromatic, non-aromatic, which is more stable, that related questions. Mesomeric effect, which is mostly related with hyperconjugation, inductive, mesomeric, mostly related with stability of carbocation, stability of the given ion, stability of the alkenes, or stability of the aromatic system. You can expect. Mostly they will ask you about the stability and reaction rates in case of these electromeric effects. Then all those named reactions, okay, which is super important. We already dealt with the 60 named reactions in one single video, which will take you around 1 hour only. So we discussed with examples also. So the named reactions are super important. I can give you the simple named reactions. If you want, you can start with the haloalkenes and haloarenes chapter, which is Schwarz reaction, Wilkinson reaction, aldol condensation, Cannizzaro reaction, Perkin reaction, and these diazonium salt related, Sandmeyer reaction, Gattermann, Ball-Schiemann reaction, and bridge reduction, Lindlar catalyst, and then what else you can do? HPZ reaction, Hoffman bromamide reaction, Hoffman ammonia lysis reaction. These type of named reactions, you can do more problems on that. Okay, we have just listed those named reactions. The PDF also you can download from that video. Okay, so the named reactions, importantly, reactant and the product. Mostly the conditions they won't ask. Sometimes they will ask you, be specific about it. In case of Rosenman reduction, they will ask you which is the catalyst, which is the poisonous catalyst. That type of questions also you can expect in some particular reactions. Okay. Then moving on to The next topic, conversion. As I told you, the role of the reagents in case of Sand-Meyer reaction and Catterman reaction, and also there is a reaction called in carbylamine reaction. What is that? And mustard oil reaction. So the role of the reagents is also equally important. Okay, which reaction, the distinguishing part, that is also important. Then all preparation methods of P block elements that we already know. We just discussed about the P block elements in just 20 minutes. You can watch that video if you're not strong about that, but start practicing the questions now. Complete and partial hydrolysis of xenon fluorides. Xenon fluoride related compounds. There are only very few compounds. The very few reactions are there. Just you can go through that thing. Then crystal field theory, which is super important. Strong field and weak field ligands, and asking for the magnetic moment, asking for the hybridization, or asking for the T2G, EG, how many electrons are there, or asking for CFSC. Okay, inner octahedral, outer octahedral, or asking for this magnetic behavior, and giving you the, I already told you, right, the number of unpaired electrons, which is very much equal to the mu s value. Okay, not exactly, but by seeing the unpaired electrons, you can find it out. You need not to calculate it each and every time. Okay, so that related problems you can expect. Then IUPAC nomenclature of coordination compounds. Right? We already discussed it. Very simple questions only. They will ask. Start with the cation and be careful with the oxidation numbers. Put it in the Roman numerals. Okay. Then oxidation properties of D block elements, which is and the colors of the D block elements, which is also equally important. There is a chart in your MCRT. I have told you this so many times, but once I am telling you, there is a chart for D block elements, the related colors. They will ask you just the same. In case of inorganic, whatever the exam you are writing, they will ask you the questions from your NCRT. Okay, just line by line from NCRT, the full mark you will get. Okay, then again physical chemistry, the work done related problems. Ask you about the sign convention also. W is equal to less than 0, whether the work done by the system or on the system, that's related problems. Reversible adiabatic process, reversible isothermal processes. W is equal to minus P delta V related problems, that also you can expect. And properties along the period, the periodic properties strength. The trends in the periodic table. Ionization enthalpy, electronegativity, electron affinity, effective nuclear charge, atomic radius, ionic radius, metallic nature, electropositivity, and reactivity, that related problems also you can expect from this part. And then acidic and basic nature related to periodic table, like the electronegativity of the central atom, which affects the acidic and basic nature, bond strength, stability of the conjugated base, which will affect resonance and inductive effects, and also the size of the central atom, oxidation state of the central atom, which will also affect. And they will give you the order, which of the order is correct, or else they will ask you to order it. Oxy acids and non-metal hydrides also you can expect. Okay, and also you can expect some questions which is related to pH as well. Okay, then stability of the carbocation and how the rearrangement happens, tautomerization reaction related problems, and most importantly aldol condensation reaction, Cannizzaro reaction. Have to include Cannizzaro reaction as well, which of the following will undergo aldol condensation reaction. Very basic straightforward reaction questions also you can expect. And distinguishing test, Lucas test, test for distinguishing primary, secondary and tertiary amines, aromatic and aliphatic amines, and test for distinguishing carbonyl compounds like aldehydes and ketones, most importantly, tolerance test, Ferring test, iodoform test, and you can expect Lieberman nitroso test. Okay, so those tests, distinguishing test is also important. And stability of the intermediates, free radicals or carbenes, Okay, carbocations, carboanions, singlet carbene, triplet carbenes, those related problems, and oxidizing property of K1O4, K2Cr2O7, how it does in acidic medium, in basic medium. Okay, so that related problems in acidic medium K2Cr2O7, what will happen, and how the oxidation states changes. Okay, and also in case of organic chemistry, how the oxidation happens, like primary alcohol, which will give you this, upon the strong oxidation, it will give you the carboxylic acid, or secondary alcohol, what that will do. And the oxidation part of primary secondary alcohols are super important. Okay, the reagents related to that, mild oxidizing agent, strong oxidizing agent, that is also equally important. What will happen if you are oxidizing the tertiary alcohols? Nothing will happen. If I'm applying the very much heat, then that will lead to the formation of alkenes. Okay, so that is the key reactions you have to follow. And once again, the crystal field theory related questions like the John Tellett distortion, and there are some exceptions also. You have to note it down. Examiner, whenever they want to twist the case, they will ask you the questions from exceptional properties. Okay, most importantly, they will ask you from copper and chromium, and sometimes they will ask you the tetragonal distortion, like elongation, compression related problems as well. Then SN1, SN2 and electrophilic substitution reactions. In the presence of substituted benzene, how that will react, whether that is para substituted or ortho substituted or meta substituted, those type of questions, which activates the ring, which deactivates the ring, those related problems. And SN2, SN1, SN2, in that case, they will ask you about the stability and solvent, polar solvent or non-polar solvent related problems, which will undergo these reactions, like that. And then coming to biomolecules, mostly the questions will be asked from sugars and DNA related, DNA and proteins. These three are the important part in biomolecules chapter, and amino acids related questions also you can expect. The simple question you can expect from biomolecule is that which of the following is disaccharide, which of the by hydrolyzing maltose, what will you get, and the starch is connected to what kind of connection is between them. So those related problems like maltose, which is upon hydrolysis, that will give you glucose, and another glucose which is connected with, I'm writing it really here. Okay, so maltose, which is a combination of two glucose, not combination, upon hydrolysis you will get two glucose, and alpha 1,4 linkage is happening over there. And in case of lactose, that is having galactose and glucose, okay, which is connected through beta 1,4 linkage. And sucrose, that is glucose and fructose, right, connected to alpha beta 1,2 linkages. Okay, then you can expect the questions from starch, which is having 1,4 linkage of alpha 1,4 linkages. Cellulose, which is having glucose unit of beta 1,4 linkages. Glycogen related questions. And then reducing and non-reducing sugars, and most importantly, amino acids. Amino acids and essential and non-essential amino acids related questions also you can expect, which is acidic, the types of amino acids, we discussed it earlier, types of amino acids, acidic, basic and neutral, and amino acid which is exhibiting the optical behavior. Okay, so that related problem you can practice. And lastly, salt analysis. Salt analysis, group 1, I'm attaching the PDF over here. You can just go through it. You can take it as a checklist also. Okay, the basic, what are those basic radicals, what are those acidic radicals, what are those preliminary and confirmation tests for that, most importantly order related, and prelims and confirmatory test. Okay, and color of flame test.